Steve, what's your initial reaction after coming away with a point at Hartlepool today?
It deserved no more than a point. Second half performance better than the first. First not good enough. Certainly not good enough. You can't make, 3 or 4 or 5 mistakes all in one phase of play, especially if it's in your defensive half. I've said it before. We make probably 4 mistakes down in our defending third, and then it ends up in the back of our net. I mean, I won't tell you what I sort of said to the lads really after. I'll not leave that to the imagination, but they weren't too happy either with their performance. I don't know, you never know quite, as I've said before, you never know quite where they are in their heads. You never quite know. I know that, there was a few out there today I thought sort of were dancing around a few tackles, and it can happen sometimes. Thankfully, in the end, we got at least a point out of the game because we didn't deserve to get beat by them. That's for sure. But we needed to play a little bit sharper. I think in the second half we were a lot better. And then, as I've said before, later on in the game, when the game gets strung out, if I see it and I think we can do it and we get the 4-4-2, what it does is it shocks the team. And that's what I've said. You wouldn't want to start like that because even in that period of 4-4-2, when they have 3 midfield players, you end up having a couple of times where there's a little spell, probably later on, and you're thinking we need to get the ball quickly here. But it's a big old pitch when you've got to get around it.
It's a word on the goal quickly. I think that's his 5th assist I heard. So maybe not scored in the league this season, but it's so important when it comes on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Quiggs has been brilliant. If I look at the last 2 games, and it was, I don't know, the next game up, what I've done is he's just had those 2 games, so I wanted to give him a little bit of a break. We'll know, in a little while who we're going to be playing in the semi-finals, and we can prepare for that, depending on who we play against. But yeah, I mean his hold-up play and pinning defenders and his assists are, they're absolutely first class. They really are. But what's happened then? We get Doidge that comes on, so the game's opened up a little bit more. I know he's got an eye for goal. He's probably scored more coming off the bench than he scored starting. And it's not a fluke that, it's no coincidence in it and how it's all panned out and how it's worked. But I think the other side of it today, it didn't look like it had gone well for Cards. But all of a sudden, when he's ploughing around there for 70 minutes by himself, he can occupy them. It's just like he needs, I don't know, whether it's sometimes you can be at a club for a year, your first year in, and the penny doesn't drop or things don't drop for you. And then the second year you can go into it and you can go and score goals and people can think, well, why didn't you do that last year? And sometimes it's settling down. I had a good chat with Harry the other week, and I think he's found the move quite hard in the expectation of him, from myself, by the way, as well. The players that he's been around as well. Don't forget, quite a few of our players have been in the league. Harry hasn't. So, it was another good shift by him that enabled us to get to that change at the end there.
How's the pitch today? It seems to be a bit bobbly at times.
Yes, very, very bobbly. Yeah, that wasn't. That didn't help. But anyway, listen, we know now that we're going to be on a good pitch anyway, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. And those pitches they're a challenge when it comes. Our boys are a little bit spoilt with what we've got training facilities wise and matches. But when I saw that today, I have to say I was a little bit worried about it.
How's Ryan Innes?
Don't know at the moment. Don't know. Need to see on that one.
But Harvey Bunker came on and did a real clean job back there.
Yeah, no, Harvey did well back there. I actually think that when he's gone on in games before, he did better than he did today. I thought there was a couple of moments, and I don't know whether this is the pitch. When it's bobbling around. He had a couple of one touches when he would normally, I think, have had a bit more composure and had a second touch and then another pass. But it's funny because there was lots of positives that we can take out of today. If we take the first half performance, because we weren't happy with that, and neither are the lads as well, by the way. You know, we weren't happy with that. Second half, I thought we were a lot better on a tricky pitch, and when you're chasing the game and the game's being slowed down and there's lots of stoppages, the stop-start scenario is really difficult to get going. Teddy Jenks, who I thought it was tough for him today coming in. Funny enough, I thought he was better in the second half than he was in the first half, and he was probably tireder in the second half than he would have been in the first half. But I thought Teddy to have 90 minutes today, Knowles' ended up having another good 70 minutes that he hasn't had for a while. So, I suppose those things, Harvey Bunker getting another game, Jordan Moore-Taylor playing 90 minutes, there's lots of positives. When we get over the emotion of the first half, and as the interview goes on, I'm starting to park that one away, because that one probably annoyed me a little bit, if I'm brutally honest. And then, of course, today we had to make sure that if anyone got booked, it was almost immediately they come off. So, whilst I don't think Charlie had the best first half, the minute he got booked, that's not something that you want to. Now the season has ended, if you know what I mean. We don't want another suspension on our hands.
Going to be playoffs now, 16 days until the game at the new lawn. How do you keep the momentum going? What do you do for the next 16 days?
Probably what they'll do is they'll have a couple of days off now, and then we'll be in again on Thursday and Friday. They may then get a clear weekend, because they haven't had that for a long time, so they may get that. And then the following week we're doing a fitness week, and then after that, then we're rolling into the game.
We don't know who Dobson is just yet. Of course, it's their game before. How important is it at the new lawn to pack the new lawn and get momentum? Because when the new lawn is full and now, you play so well.
It's a real difficult. We do. They're huge. They're huge for us. That is if there's ever a time now that the supporters can get behind the lads and all of that, that will be really, really important going forward for us now.